Hello, Revere, and welcome to our Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today we have a great special guest. She's a member of the school committee and is running for re-election. Let me welcome Ms. Susan Gravellese. Thank you for coming, Susan.
Thank you, Morris. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And before we start, tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, a little about myself.
Oh, you can say a lot about yourself.
I can say a lot about myself. I was born in Revere. As you know, I was born at the Revere Hospital. I grew up in Beachmont my whole life. After I got married, we stayed in Beachmont until we moved to Randall Road, right over here off of Malden Street.
Right.
My husband and I actually met at Revere High School, and we graduated both together the same year in 1982. My children both started in early childhood at the Garfield School and both graduated from Revere High School. My son went on to Boston College after that, and my daughter went to Bentley University. So,
what did they major in, if I may?
My son majored in political science, and my daughter was a marketing major. My son's currently working at the State House, and my daughter's currently working for Harvard University. So, the education they received in Revere was top-notch, and when both of them went to college, when they came back after the first semester, they were like, "Ma, I'm so prepared. Like, I feel so confident in college," and it was all because of the education they received here in Revere. As we know, we have the best educators, the best schools, all our schools.
And the best superintendent.
The best, well, now new superintendent.
Oh, he's...
You know,
Mr.
Dr. Paul Dakin retired.
Oh,
So now our new superintendent is Dr. Diane Kelly. She's wonderful, wonderful. So that was, you know, something that we had to do my first year as a school committee member, was go through a superintendent search to hire a new superintendent. So I had a lot on my plate the first year.
Well, there were quite a few applicants.
We decided to search from within our school system, which, you know, minimized the amount of applicants versus a nationwide search.
Oh, I see.
And it came down to, you know, those that were qualified. Diane Kelly, who's the assistant superintendent to Paul Dakin and has been in our school system for 22 years, was the top candidate, and we were happy to nominate her.
I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Lehman. Yep. No, it's pretty good. To become a school superintendent of a high school, you know, you start with a bachelor, master's, PhD. Do you have to have a master's or a PhD? Or
a doctrine's not required. Most have doctrines, but it's always better to have a doctrine. It's not a requirement.
So you could even have a bachelor's and become...
No, you'd have to be beyond that.
Oh,
I mean, our administrators have gone through rigorous courses, and from, you know, their bachelor's to their master's to their CAGs to their doctrine. So we all of our administrators are phenomenal in Revere.
That's why we have the best school in the country. Literally, when you think of it, we were voted #1 superintendent, Mr. Dakin,
yes.
out of 50 from all the 50 states.
Yes, yes, #1. He also was invited to the White House last year for being one of the superintendents that is considered future ready, meaning our school system, the technology within our schools is already advanced for the future. Like, it's set up right now to handle the future technology that's coming in. So he was one of 100 that was invited to Washington, D.C. to be honored for that.
Right. I wish, you know, when I was a young kid going to school, we had to take notes, write everything.
No.
No, that's what we had to do. The kids today, all they do is have these little fancy computers.
Right.
They type everything in.
And everything's stored right there, which is great.
And, you know, I've seen kids take the computer, like in coffee shops, and they ask questions like, who was this? And the computer literally talks back to them.
Right, it does, Siri. Yep.
I wish
but, you know, a lot of the, you know, shops are internet ready, so the kids can do their homework when they're out in different cafes or, you know, on vacation. So that's a great thing about the computer.
Down the beach or in the park, they sit there with these little gadgets.
Yep, so it is. It's a great thing. As you know, like, all of our schools in Revere were ranked level 1 and level 2 schools this year. I'm not sure if you knew that.
No.
What that is, they're graded 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning, you know, above average, you know, on target.
Which is the
below
best
it.
number? 4?
1.
Oh, 1?
1 and 2.
Okay.
So we were the only district in the state of Massachusetts to have all level 1 and 2 schools. So all 9 of our schools, something to be very proud of, were level 1 and level 2.
That's terrific.
And that's based on the MCAS scores. I remember you asked me about the MCAS
right.
before.
So what does the MCAS test consist of, if I may ask?
It is a paper test. Kids take them at different grade levels.
Do
Third
they use their
grade.
computer or they don't?
Not for the MCAS.
Oh, that's
no.
what's up here then?
And it's a paper formatted test, multiple choice and essays.
Oh, it's all the subjects that they have, like science, math?
Yes, yes. Each different grade levels, like third grade, then
Right.
middle school, then high school, have to test for different, like whether it's English language arts and then science
You
and
know what
math.
we called it on my
What?
time? Regents. Taking a Regents exam.
That's
It
right,
It wasn't like SAT or MCAS.
Right, right. And now a lot of the schools, and we here in Revere were one of the first to pilot what's called the PARCC testing. And that's an assessment of college and career readiness.
Oh.
And right now, Massachusetts, along with most of the states across the United States, are switching towards the PARCC test. And that's a computerized test, which is what the wave of the future is for the children. Like you said, children are on their computers, they do their homework on their computers. It's really great for English language learners. We have a lot of those in
Susan,
our...
I'd like to ask you a question.
What is it?
Okay. Well, I try to compare my school education with today's school education. We didn't have the computers. We had to learn to do everything by hand, by paper and things. Do they rely solely on the computers, or they know how to do it both without the computer and with the computer?
They do have written work that they have to do
Oh.
also. They do.
Beside the computer. then.
Besides the computer. You know, in the high school, they have what's called flipped learning. So they have lessons on their computer, on their iPad. The teachers will make a lesson, you know, regular English lesson,
Right.
and they'll put it on the iPad where the kids can go home and watch the lesson on their iPad. And that's really good preparation for when they go to college, because a lot of it is, you know, the professor could have his lesson on the internet where the kids can learn.
Would that mean that a person who's an invalid, let's say they cannot get out to go to school, can get a college education at home through the computer by applying?
Colleges have online only courses, yes.
Oh, they- okay.
Credited courses, yes.
That's good.
And all college campuses, you know, are handicap accessible and so on and so
I
forth.
remember
But yeah,
as a young man, like we had a few kids that were disabled or they couldn't walk really. The teacher would come after school to help them out, but now they can just do it through the internet.
they could. They could. That is another option, which is great for the internet.
It is, it is.
It
So-
makes learning universal.
Yep, and it's perfect. I like to ask you, there's different types of schools, and if you would be kind enough to explain it to the dummy over here.
Okay.
Such as, what do they mean by charter school?
Okay, I do. I remember you asked me before what a charter school
Right.
was. Charter school is an independently run public school, and they granted like greater flexibility in how they operate their school. They are usually, they're privately run. Charter schools are started by businesses or an entrepreneur, communities. Morris could start a charter school, but you would have to be granted a charter from the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. So just say an organization wanted to start a charter school, which is a public school to children. They would have to apply for a charter and be approved.
And what grade does the charter school usually go up to, if I may ask? Like
1 to 12.
1 to 12?
Or it could be K to 12. I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure right now.
But it wouldn't have anything to do with the high school, though, the charter?
It does not. Nope. It's a separate option of a public school
Oh, okay.
for a parent. Charter schools started somewhere around 1994 or 95.
Does that mean the people that go to charter schools, if they're started by businesses, that means they have to pay to go to the charter?
They do not.
Oh, the state pays for that? Or the city or town?
They are funded by state funds and private funds.
Oh, okay.
And they're still, the charter schools are still held to like academic standards, but they can make their own rules. We have an innovation school in
Right, I was
Revere.
going to ask you about
Oh,
that.
you were?
Yep, you
Okay.
beat me to that one.
I'm telling you, Morris, I must be reading your mind.
I hope not.
Okay. Innovation schools are similar to charter schools, but they're a public district school. They're within our Revere public school system. They're not independent, but they have the autonomy to make decisions on their own as far as like how they're going to teach the curriculum and their school schedule or their staffing or their professional development.
Would you call the Garfield School like an innovation school?
No, actually, the Paul Revere
Yep.
is our innovation school. Innovation School started in 2010. It was signed into law by Governor Patrick, and it provides educators with like more autonomy in their schedule. So similar to a charter school, they have more autonomy where they govern themselves, but they still are in the Revere public schools system. The Paul Revere actually was the model school for the state, that people, came to the Paul Revere to model themselves after what they were doing at the Paul Revere. So they're doing a great job there.
I have to thank the Paul Revere School, not because of their innovation, but because what they do for us veterans.
The veterans.
Every Veterans November, the
Yes.
month of November, Veterans Day,
Yes.
they honor the veterans. Terry Inserto, who's a great teacher there.
Yes, my
And-
great niece has her
Does
this
she?
year for her teacher,
Terrific
first grade
teacher.
teacher.
And Miss Barbara Kelly, who's a terrific
Yes.
principal at the
Yes,
school.
she's
So again,
amazing.
thank you for what you do for us and the veterans in the city of Revere. Thank you, Paul Revere School.
They do a nice celebration. The kids sing
Now
all
you
the
can
songs.
explain to me the middle school. We went through the charter, the innovation, and middle school.
Oh, the middle school lottery you were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a hot topic in Revere always. That's been ongoing for quite some time. It's not actually the best process, but it's the only thing that we could find that actually works somewhat. So the problem, how it stemmed was we are overpopulated
Right.
in the city. We're expanding at the walls with all the schools. We only have 3 middle schools in Revere, and we have 6 elementary schools. So the children have a choice they can put in for if they want to go to the Romney Marsh, the Garfield, or the Susan B. Anthony. And what happened was the majority of the kids the first year this started, which was about 8 or 9 years ago, all chose the same school. So we were forced to put them into a lottery where when the 36 seats were filled up for that class, they needed to get their second choice. So it's been, kind of a sore topic in the city, and, working now with my current school board members, I realize they have been working on it for years. The problem is there is no solution because we're overpopulated.
Right. And we're talking about more overpopulation.
Yes, with all the apartment buildings
Right.
and all the new development going on. So we're hoping that these new developments do stick to, the
Commercial.
regulations as far as mostly 1 bedrooms, which would, obviously eliminate having too much population
kids
to
around,
fit in
yeah.
the school system because, it does, cost a bit to educate each school child. So that has been a lot.
That's terrific. Now, the next thing I was going to ask you, well, we talked about the qualifications for the teachers. They want to build a new high school.
Yes, we are in dire need of a new high school.
Right, and some people that were up here, they talked that would run like $3 million, $5 million, or whatever the school costs. They're also talking about youth centers. A couple of the people, and I would like to mention Al Terminello Jr.'s. I think he's running for
School committee, yes.
too, so that's another one.
Yes.
He mentioned that if they're going to build a brand new high school, one night put the youth center, and I think you mentioned it too when you came on, to put the youth center right in the high school
Yeah, I think it would be a great idea to have well, I would call it more of a teen center. We have a great youth center down here on Beach Street that does really tailor to the younger children.
That's right next to the little...
Yes, what used to be Little Peach, now it's Tedesco.
Right.
So, I mean, I would maybe want to call it more of a teen center, a designated area within the high school that would be open for the teens to go in, you know, play basketball, you know, there could be different activities for them. We could have information available on, you know, teen alcohol and drug abuse, you know, awareness, information, things like that, that we could help teach the kids and educate them, because we don't want our teens on the street. We want them to have a safe place to go and always give them information.
That is good. Now, Susan, what would you like to see coming up when you go back to the school committee? The new things coming up. If you could do anything you wanted, what would be some of the things you would do?
I have to say, they have so many great programs going on that are ongoing right now in the schools. Every school, every elementary school has a fitness program for the kids. You know, I'm big into fitness, Morris. They are always coming up with new plans and innovative ways and different ideas for the kids. So, I mean, right now, I don't see anything that, I really don't see anything that needs to be changed. I like continuing working with the school department going forward in everything that they're doing.
Now, I got to ask you this question. Libraries. They still use books in the library, I assume.
They do have books in the library.
Okay, because now I see the kids on some of the computers doing their book reading right on the computer. How does that affect the libraries?
I'm sure it does affect a lot of public libraries, obviously, and yes, our school children do have a lot of their books on the computer. Our elementary children still have the summer reading program where they're required to read a certain amount of designated books every summer and write a report on them and submit them at the beginning of the school year, which encourages reading from a paper book and writing, which is something that you said, you know, you feel there's a lack of.
I notice on some of the books that they show on the computer, on the iPads or iPods.
And you're becoming very computer savvy lately, too.
I just learned it thanks to Revere TV.
Right.
I gotta be honest with you.
I heard you're a whiz on the computer now.
No, I had a good teacher here. Let me tell you, Bobby Driscoll.
Bobby Driscoll taught you?
Bob Dunbar.
No, very
Jessica
good.
Simpson.
Wow, very nice.
I had the top brains teaching me over here.
Oh, good for you, Morris.
No, what I like about the computer is, let's say, for example, you cannot see good. When you're a senior citizen, you get cataracts. And the computer will talk as it's reading the book. In other words, so we'll read it out loud for you.
It can do that.
Right.
Which is
Excuse
great.
me.
You know what I mean? When you have impaired vision.
Right. And if you have impaired reading, it also prints out the words. So if you can read,
right.
Either way, it's a win-win situation.
It makes it accessible for everybody. You can even make the font larger on the screen. If you wanted to read it yourself, you can enlarge that, which is great. You know what I mean? There's a lot of amazing things, which is, you know, a great part of our school system.
I have to tell you, I mean, myself, when I turn the computer on, and I have to, like, when I do the music at the senior center and the people ask me for certain songs and I can't see them, I push the control with the plus sign to blow up the words. Yep. And it makes it nice and big for me to read, which I normally would not be able to read if it was normal when it first comes on. So it's a terrific idea for seniors. I think every senior should have a little computer.
I agree. And they do have senior computer classes at the senior center.
Yes, and they have Lois Diamond, terrific teacher. Does it? But I have to tell you, a lot of the people like myself wouldn't go near that machine for years. We were
afraid of it.
Yeah. And even when it talks, because you can voice talk into it.
Right.
I don't like when it answers me back. No.
You don't like the answer that it gives you, or okay? So maybe you should ask different questions. That could be it, and you'll get better answers. But that's another reason. You know, our youth, our children, starting at age 2, they pick up an iPhone and they already know how to swipe and you know, use the computer.
Right, I could ask my computer, for example, how do you say good day in Spanish? How do you say good day in German or French or English? And the computer literally tells you how to do it.
It will tell you how.
Yep,
You know.
and it'll not only tell you how, it will pronounce it for you, so you make the correct pronunciation.
That's right. Which is, you know, again, brings me back to the park testing, which is something that, you know, we're going through nationwide, starting to implement, because it's a generation of computers. The generation coming up knows even more than the generation ahead of.
Right, but another question that I would like to, I know I'm going to get criticized
Uh-oh,
for this.
uh-oh.
No, not
Should
from
I
you.
leave?
No, probably from the people who are watching the show.
Uh-oh.
You know, we have a lot of people here that speak different languages in the city of Revere. I don't know how many, but quite a few. But English should be the major language in school. You know, like they have Spanish and German and French. Excuse me. When people come into this country as legal immigrants, and I want to use the word legal immigrants, the qualification should be that you do learn the English language and keep your language, whatever you have, whether it's German, Russian, French, on there. But a lot of the people that I meet, not only in Revere, Chelsea, Boston, I speak to them. They don't understand me. Now, I come from Brooklyn. I don't think my English is that bad. No, but I mean, they'll say to me, no comprende, no comprende. But I guess that means, I
mean,
know.
our children that come into the school system, when they do come here from other countries, they do have English language learning. No, they come in, a lot of them may not know the language at all, but you'd be surprised. These young children can absorb very quickly. And there are English language learning classes just for the children in school. And maybe some of the people you may talk to, it may have come here, you know, at an older age and is having more difficulty absorbing the English language. I do find that a lot, that some parents will let their child interpret for them because they have difficulty maybe understanding the language. But the children that come in and come into our classrooms, you know, do absorb the language, and amazing, it's wonderful that they are bilingual with English language and their own language. I would love if every school taught a second language starting at elementary school, teaching the children Spanish.
Is it compulsory to learn a second language?
It's not.
It's not?
No.
But you can't take one, like if you want to take Spanish or Italian or French?
In high school, yes.
Oh,
yes.
But not in elementary school?
No. Some schools do teach, you know, like catchphrase words and, you know, how to count and, you know, different things in Spanish, which I think it would be great if even our children were, you know, bilingual. But I find that the children absorb the language, and I find, you know, people that may have moved here at an older age have a difficult time. But we do have a community school here in Revere at the high school. Did you know that, Morris?
No, and I don't think a lot of people know it either.
We do have a community school here at Revere High School, and it's for adult learning, English language learners, where they can take adult classes. You know, they can go there for all different reasons. It's run by Fatu at Revere High School. So it's something that on our Revere City website, you can find all the information about the community schools, and we encourage residents to come in to learn different, there's all different classes they can take, or like I said, learn an English language learners. So that's something new for you. And that's something maybe you could communicate to people in
the senior center
that, you know, may want to take advantage of it.
Yep, we have a lot of people. We have a few in there that speak very little English. One comes from Colombia, another one came from El Salvador.
Okay, this is at the senior center?
Yep.
Yes.
I myself left Brooklyn to come to America, so I
and here you are in Revere.
Right. And you know, a lot of people tell me I still have my New York accent, which I do. Sometimes I forget to say third instead of toit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
First instead of first.
Right, that's difficult.
I mean, that gives me away right off the get-go out of there, but I love it.
But maybe as part of your outreach, you can let people know about our community school at Revere High School.
Yep, and as a matter of fact, we would love to have you the next time you come down to speak to Mr. Steve Fielding, and let you yourself to let the people know.
I'll bring some information on that for you.
That would be good.
Okay, very good.
Especially for the immigrants that come. We have quite a few immigrants. We had a woman that came from Egypt.
And it's difficult when you don't know where to go or how to get assistance in learning the language.
Right. I see, like, we have a gentleman who's a real nice man, and his name is Sergio. He comes from Colombia. He has a little book, and it says English on one side and his Spanish on the other
Okay.
side. And when I'm talking to him, he'll open up the book and he'll ask whoever's speaking, point, you know, like
To find out what the
yeah,
translation might be.
which is good. I mean, but he's
He's trying.
He's in his late 80s or early 90s, so he's really trying.
And like you said, it's difficult to learn something new at an age. You
yep.
know, you had the fear of the computer. I'm sure they have a fear of not knowing the language. So
Yep, I love the computer now because I can talk to it, and you know, and I'll say to the computer, how do you say this and that in a certain, like an Italian or German or Russian, and the computer will literally answer.
so you're learning a second language.
Yep.
Or a third or a fourth.
But I'm
very
not
good.
as smart as the computer, I'll tell you that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You're getting there, Morris. You're getting there. You will be. You just keep up with that, and I
By
know
the
you'll
way,
get to it.
Susan, the time went so fast. We
Oh.
got 2 minutes left.
Oh,
Leave me 1 minute and take the other minute.
okay.
Go ahead, say whatever
Okay.
you want.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Morris, and thank Revere TV for having me here today. I look forward to this year's campaigning this year for re-election, and I will be knocking on doors starting this weekend, and I hope to see each and every one of you, and I hope you consider me when you vote in November. Thank you.
Right, Susan.
Morris.
And I want to thank you for coming to our senior center and
You're
doing
the best,
everything for
Morris.
us. Thank you again. God bless you, Susan.
Oh.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
God bless the people of Revere, our troops overseas, but most of all, really, God bless our great country, the United States of America. And thank you all for listening. Until the next time, I hope we have another great guest like Mrs. Susan Gravellese. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Morris.